Now, when it comes to Jack Harlow's new track Lovin' On Me, between its catchy sample, bouncy drums, and Jack's playboy attitude, it's obvious that this song was made from the same mold that made his 2022 track First Class a massive success, and while doing the same thing over again just with a different coding and a way more admirable sample choice ensured that this would be a smash hit for Jack from the very start. This way of creating songs with premeditated formulas is compromising the long-term stability of hip-hop for a quick hit. Just like many of the biggest rap songs of this year, artists are trading in the qualities that make them special as they undercut the creative process to generate the most hollow-ringing records possible. Now, the problem with this is that more than ever, the mainstream musical landscape is dominated by songs that are built to catch all the attention but without any of the heart that will make them resonate with people like me and you for years to come. Songs are no longer being made to impact listeners, but instead are being designed by committee to run up Spotify numbers and fuel the next TikTok trend. Now, in a genre like hip-hop that has been fueled by unrivaled authenticity and realness, being in a state where artificially conceived songs are viciously pursuing the charts while simultaneously diminishing the chances for other rappers who are trying to shake up the industry with new sounds and styles to blow up, it sets a dangerous precedent for rap's future. Between the sample bait so many artists try to repackage nostalgia and get a hit off of somebody else's success with, to the bloated albums which compromise musical quality to boost streaming numbers, to the pure inability to take any risks and defy the status quo just one bit. These horrible trends have culminated together to doom rap with one trend that it may not survive. A trend that is sucking the life out of one of the most important art forms we have had the pleasure of witnessing and is trying to destroy its very spirit. With the current state hip-hop is in, we are at a point where this doesn't just represent how mainstream hip-hop is on a staggering decline, but what's happening goes against the very pillars that made rap music special in the first place. As hip-hop continues to steer further and further away from its core traits, the question we are gonna have to ask ourselves is, what's next? What will happen to hip-hop as the worst trend we have ever seen in the genre's history continues to run rampant? A movement that is bigger than a single style or craze, but one that is wiping out hip-hop's most important aspect, originality. Now, this trend is doing everything to destroy hip-hop, and it's something that I like to call the death of authorship. Now, defined as the state of being the creator of a work of art and giving said work its own sense of meaning and identity, the concept of authorship is what makes not just our favorite music, but all of our favorite movies, shows, and all other types of media special in their own distinct ways. Authorship is what channels those uncompromised traits within our favorite artists that inspire us and make their music as impactful as it is. From the sheer passion of a Kanye West to the relatability of a J. Cole, the more authorship one helms over their work, the more compelling it can end up being to the people it's trying to reach. Now, in a genre like hip-hop, it's essential to understand that it was this very sense of authorship amongst the genre's pioneers that made it into the phenomenon it became. From the rebellious nature and defiance of groups like NWA and Public Enemy to the off-the-wall attitude of the Beastie Boys. Early hip-hop artists like these became cultural staples because their authenticity shined through the music world in an era where everything else felt so safe, sterile, and sanitized. For decades, the authenticity hip-hop as a genre prided itself on allowed for it to grow into the powerhouse it has become. From every region developing their own signature sounds to rappers like Outkast and MF Doom showing just how creative hip-hop can get, it's been the unpredictable power of authorship that is responsible for hip-hop's success more than anything else. So when we get to the current era of rap music, specifically the new generation of rappers, we are at a point where the authenticity that sparked new golden ages for rap music is being traded in for an era where everybody just wants to meet the status quo. Albums are no longer being designed as thrilling musical experiences, but instead are just sludged together packages of musical bait that hopes to go viral. Now, while labels have been under the belief that making albums this way will only benefit their pockets, this is the very reason why we have seen such a decline in album sales this year all across the board. Because of how disposable the album has been treated by so many artists and labels alike, and because of how contrived and repetitive so many have been. Listeners are becoming no longer interested in engulfing themselves into a multi-track musical experience. Aside from select albums that carry massive amounts of hype at this point, people are not interested in sitting through messy projects that seemingly offer them nothing but a waste of time, as they simply bank on something else that they have already heard before. Now, this is really a shame because even good albums these days seem to be underperforming because of the precedent that's been set by the larger portion of the industry. When we are living in an era where collab albums from Lil Wayne and 2 Chainz and Meek Mill and Rick Ross barely sell over 30,000 copies in their first week, it shows you just how far things have changed. And while rappers like me can't understand why their numbers have seen such a staggering decline, when you look on the outside, you can see how the bad apples who are soiling the creative process are hurting the success of not just the artists phoning it in, but the ones trying their best to make something special for listeners. Just a few years ago in 2020, Lil Wayne's album Funeral sold 139,000 copies in its first week, and now 3 years later, he is just selling 35,000 on a collab with 2 Chainz? Even somebody like Lil Uzi with a massive album like The Pink Tape saw a massive decline from his last album Eternal Take, going from selling 288,000 copies first week to just 164. And when you look at even more rappers who are not putting in nearly as much effort as Uzi or Lil Wayne, the returns they are seeing on their albums have reached even more staggering lows. Now, on one hand, it's satisfying to see artists who continuously trade in their creativity to appease a boardroom crumble in popularity as their albums continue to flop. But it's also frustrating because it's these exact artists and the precedents they're setting that are hurting not just themselves, but the entirety of hip-hop as a whole. Now, as albums continue being diluted and their sales figures just continue to decrease, labels and a lot of new artists don't even care about the full-length format, and they just care about their singles. But when it comes to these individual song releases that come from the biggest camps in music, the culture surrounding them may be even more detrimental for rap's future than the albums. Now, with singles, they are no longer made to welcome people into new eras and chapters of artists' careers, but instead are being made to serve as the centerpiece to over-the-top promotional campaigns. Now, don't get me wrong, when a single is a spectacle for the right reasons, it can be amazing. Take a look at tracks like God's Plan or Kendrick Lamar's The Heart Part 5 if you need examples, but the way they have been used by most artists in today's era is just sad. Now, with every major single that's being promoted these days, it feels like there is always a gimmick behind them. Whether it's creating controversy, relying on the successful song you're sampling, or pushing some sort of trend down everybody's throats in the most inorganic way possible, these songs are so focused on being so many other things that they forget about their core purpose as a whole, to be a good song. Many of the biggest rap songs this year were made for those golden 15 seconds, or for a dance here and there, or for a slowed and reverbed version, but as a complete fleshed out piece of music that you can sit and enjoy, these things fall apart. In this regard, all of the rappers fighting for the center spotlight of the genre seem to just be trying to outdo each other in the most ridiculous ways possible. It's either another song filled with sample bait or a track that's riding out the popular trend of the one that came before it, and with so many rappers who are fighting for chart positioning, all adding to this problem with each new drop they have, mainstream hip-hop has been put in a void where the music makes you feel the worst emotion possible, the hollow lifelessness of nothing. At the point we are at, where songs are just becoming marketing gimmicks and albums are made to conform to the trends that are the most chart-friendly possible, we're at a point where hip-hop is now representing the very thing its pioneers sought out to destroy in the industry: a lack of originality and a lack of a genuine purpose. The chase for clout is contorting the way people see the genre and respect it for that matter. Now, when we look at what all of this means in the greater context of the hip-hop world, as rap just turned 50 this year, while I don't think we realize it yet, 2023 will end up being one of the most important years in the genre's history, but not for the reasons anybody expected. Now, while the industry-funded artists are enjoying their high monthly listener counts and top charting records, fans have fully noticed just how bad of a state mainstream hip-hop is in, and this is of course because of the absence of authorship. The authenticity that has made hip-hop so amazing is starting to rub away on the surface, but as this has happened, while some fans have been lost in the shuffle, countless of others have found fitting alternatives that may end up saving the genre. Now, while we are officially in an era where rappers like Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole are moving away from the spotlight, there is still a plethora of gifted hip-hop artists with so much realness to them that are dominating the hip-hop scene beyond the surface, and this is currently fueling something very big. From the lyrically driven Griselda to the rage movement spearheaded by Playboi Carti, There is an amazing creative ecosystem beyond the surface in hip-hop, with each faction of it building their own strong-knit group of fans, and the reason why people are falling in love with these artists is because of the one thing that the mainstream has been missing: authorship. From the most precise and chiseled lyrical architects to the most amped up ragers, what is going on in the hip-hop world beyond all the industry plans and politics is quite beautiful, and as companies continue to fail to deliver what fans want and these newer unprecedented acts continue to win those same people over with their undeniable sense of authenticity. While I don't know where the future of hip-hop will go from here, I would bet on this. As the people sniff out the artists who don't represent what truly embodies this generation-defining art form, the authorship that has been missing from so much of what is going on in hip-hop this year will once again become the very quality that brings rap into its next golden age. Now, if you agree with what I'm saying, please let me know in the comments below. Can hip-hop get back to where it has been, where it is fueled by its authenticity, originality, and authorship, or have we gotten too far from that? Now, I know 2023 has been a year that a lot of people have criticized, and rightfully so, but since we are now in December, I am going to be releasing my list for the best and worst rappers, songs, and albums of 2023, so if you can't wait to find out what I think has saved and destroyed rap this year simultaneously, hit that subscribe button and turn on that bell. I can't wait for you to hear what I have to say. Thank you for watching. Your support means everything. Mr. F, Fantastic Hip Hop, signing out. Catch you in the next video.